What if your tinnitus isn't just ear damage? What if the ringing, buzzing, or hissing you hear isn't simply something broken, but a signal that certain cells in your brain are struggling to produce energy? Most people are told tinnitus is caused by hearing loss or permanent damage. And sometimes, that's true. But that explanation doesn't tell the whole story. Because tinnitus isn't always constant. It fluctuates. It spikes when you're stressed. It gets louder when you're exhausted. It worsens after poor sleep. It can flare during illness. If tinnitus were purely structural damage, why would those things matter so much? Today, I want to explore a perspective that's gaining more attention in neuroscience and metabolic health. What if tinnitus is partly a problem of cellular energy regulation? Specifically, what if mitochondria, the energy-producing engines inside your cells, play a bigger role than most people realize? This isn't about miracle cures. It's about understanding patterns. And once you understand patterns, you gain leverage. Let's begin with the conventional explanation. Tinnitus is the perception of sound without an external source. It might sound like ringing, buzzing, whistling, roaring, or electrical static. The most common theory links tinnitus to hearing loss. When the delicate hair cells in your inner ear are damaged, often from noise exposure, aging, or trauma, the auditory signal sent to the brain becomes reduced. The brain doesn't like reduced input, so it compensates. It turns up the sensitivity, a process sometimes compared to increasing the gain on a microphone. That increased sensitivity can create spontaneous neural firing, and that spontaneous firing may be interpreted as sound. This explanation is valid, but it doesn't explain everything. Some people with measurable hearing loss never develop tinnitus. Others with mild or even normal hearing experience severe symptoms. And many people report that their tinnitus intensity fluctuates dramatically. That fluctuation suggests something dynamic, not just structural damage. Now here's something fascinating. The inner ear is one of the most metabolically active tissues in the body. The cochlea, the spiral structure responsible for converting sound waves into electrical signals, operates continuously. It requires enormous energy to maintain ion gradients, power neurotransmitter release, sustain rapid electrical signaling, preserve cellular structure. All of that runs on ATP. ATP is your body's fundamental energy molecule. And ATP is produced by mitochondria. Inside nearly every cell in your body are mitochondria converting oxygen and nutrients into usable energy. Auditory hair cells and neurons are especially dependent on steady ATP production. If energy supply drops, even slightly, these cells may struggle to maintain electrical stability. And when neurons lose stability, they can misfire. Here's where the energy starvation concept comes in. When mitochondria function optimally, ATP production is stable. But under stress, whether from inflammation, oxidative damage, poor sleep, or chronic cortisol elevation, mitochondrial efficiency can decline. Less ATP means less energy for precise neural signaling. Neurons rely on tight control of electrical gradients. When that control weakens, firing patterns can become erratic. Clusters of hyperactive auditory neurons may begin firing spontaneously. The brain interprets electrical activity as sound. Not because there is sound, but because the signal resembles sound. Now think about your own experience. Does your tinnitus spike after a stressful week? After intense workouts without recovery? During illness? When you haven't slept well? When your blood sugar crashes? All of those increase metabolic demand while reducing cellular efficiency. That's the definition of energy stress. Stress doesn't just affect your mood. It alters mitochondrial function. When cortisol remains elevated for long periods, it increases oxidative stress inside cells. Oxidative stress damages mitochondrial membranes and reduces ATP production efficiency. At the same time, stress increases energy demand. You now have higher demand and lower supply. That imbalance can create instability in sensitive neural circuits. The auditory system is particularly sensitive because it must filter enormous amounts of sensory input continuously. When the system becomes unstable, the volume knob effect may intensify. This could explain why tinnitus often feels louder during emotional strain. Not because the ear changed overnight, but because cellular energy regulation shifted. Sleep is when mitochondrial repair happens. During deep sleep, cells clear metabolic waste, repair oxidative damage, rebuild ATP generating capacity. Even one night of poor sleep can reduce insulin sensitivity and increase inflammation. Chronic sleep deprivation impairs mitochondrial biogenesis, the process of creating new mitochondria. If tinnitus worsens after bad sleep, that may reflect temporary energy instability. Many people notice their tinnitus is louder in the evening when they're fatigued. That pattern aligns with declining energy reserves. Your brain consumes a significant portion of your daily energy. When blood sugar fluctuates wildly, your neurons experience instability. Rapid spikes followed by crashes can create temporary energy shortages. Auditory neurons underfueled may become more reactive. This doesn't mean sugar alone causes tinnitus. But energy swings may influence symptom intensity. Stable fuel equals stable signaling. Mitochondria require specific nutrients to function efficiently. Magnesium plays a role in ATP activation. B vitamins assist in energy metabolism pathways. Iron supports oxygen transport. CoQ10 is directly involved in the mitochondrial electron transport chain. Deficiencies don't automatically cause tinnitus, but suboptimal levels may reduce cellular resilience, especially in high-demand tissues like the auditory system. The traditional narrative of tinnitus can feel discouraging. You have damage. Nothing can be done. Just learn to live with it. But if energy metabolism plays even a partial role, the conversation changes. Because energy metabolism is dynamic. It responds to sleep. It responds to stress management. It responds to nutrition. It responds to lifestyle. You may not control everything, but you can influence cellular stability. That shift from permanent damage to metabolic stress is powerful. Let's focus on foundational support. Prioritize consistent sleep. Same sleep and wake time daily if possible. Stabilize blood sugar. Balanced meals with protein, fiber, and healthy fats. Manage chronic stress load. Breathing exercises, light walks, downtime. Avoid overtraining. Recovery supports mitochondria more than constant intensity. Discuss nutrient testing with a healthcare professional. None of these are quick fixes, but they support the terrain. And sometimes improving the terrain reduces symptom volatility. Tinnitus is complex. It may involve hearing loss, neural plasticity, inflammation, vascular factors, stress, metabolic health. There is unlikely a single cause. But energy metabolism may be one piece of the puzzle. And when something fluctuates, that suggests modifiable variables. If your tinnitus changes depending on stress, sleep, or exhaustion, that may not be coincidence. It may reflect how sensitive the auditory system is to cellular energy availability. Understanding this doesn't guarantee elimination, but it offers direction. Instead of asking only, "What's broken?" you can also ask, "How can I stabilize energy?" If this perspective resonated, let me know in the comments. Do you notice your tinnitus gets louder when you're run down? And if you're interested in more content on brain energy, mitochondrial health, and nervous system resilience, consider subscribing. Because sometimes the key isn't volume, it's energy. Disclaimer: this video is for educational purposes only and is not medical advice. Tinnitus can have multiple causes. Always consult a qualified healthcare professional for proper diagnosis and treatment before making changes to your health routine.